All right, today we are talking about how to teach work ethic in the workplace. Kind of crazy, right? Why would we have to talk about work ethic? Because a lot of times we hire folks that don't understand work ethic. They've never had a job before. Even some of our seasoned veterans, there may be things we ask them to do, but they don't really understand what to do or how to do it. How many of you seen the movie Holes? Do you remember that movie, the movie Holes by Disney? There's a famous quote in that by Mr. Sir. He's talking about their philosophy about boys. He says, look, you take a bad boy and you make him dig holes in the hot sun all day, and it turns him into a good boy. That's our philosophy here at Camp Green Lake, right? You take a bad boy and you make him, and it turns him into a good boy. I mean, is that the way we approach it at work? Well, it was pretty effective for them, right? Well, how do we do the work? Well, you have a 5-foot shovel. And with that 5-foot shovel, you're going to dig a hole 5 foot deep. And you're going to dig that hole 5 foot around. So you take your measuring stick, which is your shovel, and you run it all the way across the bottom. If it's 5 diameter all the way around, you're good to go. If it's 5 feet tall, you're good to go. If you're short, good luck getting out of the hole, right? But that was pretty well done, right? Here's the work. Here's how you measure it. And this is what success looks like. And as a reward, if you actually finish, you get to go home and eat, right? So if it takes you all day, guess what? It takes you all day. Work ethic. It's going to be different for every job, every person, but let's explain how we teach it, right? So first of all, what is work? We know that work is mental or physical effort, right? Mental or physical effort that is done in order to achieve a purpose or a result or to accomplish something meaningful. For me, one of the ways my dad taught me work ethic was mixing cement. This is your job. So if we're going to talk about mixing cement, what is the task? The task, Mr. Adams, is to mix cement. Okay, well, why? Why do I have to mix this cement? Because this job looks stupid. It sucks. Why do I have to do this? Well, here's why. Because you have a client that's paying for it, number one, that needs to create a way to channel water to their crops so that people can eat, right? So we've got to build this ditch, and it's for aesthetics, we're going to make it look really good with river rock, but it's got to channel the water and it's got to take it to where it needs to go so that the crops can grow and people can eat. Okay, now I understand. What is the task? I understand also why it has to be done. Now, how do you do the task? Well, here's what you do. You take this 100-pound bag of sand and you dump it in the wheelbarrow. By the way, this is before the time of mixers, which means I was the mixer, right? So we dump it in the wheelbarrow. How much water do I use? Well, you take the hose and you put as much water in there as it needs to be. Okay, so I've got to get that consistency. Well, how will you know the task is done correctly? Because I'm going to follow up and check every single batch. Because if it doesn't match the consistency I need, then I will show you how to get to the consistency I need. If you put too much water in, then we'll add a little more cement mix. If you don't have enough water, we'll add a little more water. But we're going to get the consistency. There's going to continue to check up on me until they don't have to check up on me anymore, right? Until they built that trust, which comes down to how will we follow up, right? How you know the task is done correctly and how will we follow up? The follow-up comes when the supervisor, or AKA my phone, we move forward. Now, how do we know the project is completed correctly? Because we now have a ditch that channels the water and it looks good and it's clean and it's neat and it's beautiful, right? This is the same process that we utilize to teach anything, whether it's rock walls, whether it's how to pumps at a pilot station, or whether it's how to stock shelves. It's the same process, or whether you're building a stack base. We teach and train. What is the task? Why does it have to be done? How do you do the task? How will you know the task is done correctly? And how are we going to follow up? And by the way, if we put the follow-up, how will we follow up? What's the follow-up process on this? Well, I'm going to check in with you when I hit this point. Okay, to make sure we've done it right. And I'm going to check in with you again when I hit this point. And then I'll check in with you again when the task is complete so that I know it's done to your satisfaction, right? Basic math, but when it comes to basic math, Common knowledge is not always common practice. And remember, a lot of times our folks, they don't understand unless we teach them, right? They will not understand our expectation unless they understand what our expectation is. They repeat it back to us what the expectation is, and then we continue to teach and train until we get exactly the expectation that we're looking for. I hope this is helpful. If you like it, subscribe to it, hit the little bell, and I will see you again tomorrow.